The sky over Bastogne is gray, not the soft gray of morning fog, the hard gray of winter steel. It is December 1944. The air is so cold it burns the lungs. The clouds hang low, heavy, pressing down on the snow-covered forest like a lid on a coffin. At 12,000 feet, the cold is worse. It seeps through leather, through wool, through skin, into bone. Second Lieutenant James Jimmy Caldwell sits in the cockpit of his P-47 Thunderbolt. His hands are numb inside his gloves. His breath comes out in white clouds that freeze on the inside of his oxygen mask. He can feel ice crystals forming on his eyelashes. He blinks them away. The engine rumbles. A deep, throaty roar that vibrates through the stick, through the seat, through his entire body. He had been flying for 90 minutes. Patrol over the Ardennes, looking for German fighters, looking for trouble. He has found neither. Just clouds, just cold, just the endless gray sky. His squadron leader, Captain Frank Morrison, flies 300 yards to his left. Jimmy can barely see him through the haze, just a dark shape against the clouds. Morrison's voice crackles over the radio. Baker 2, this is Baker leader. Fuel check. Jimmy glances at his gauges. The fuel needle hovers just above half. He keys the mic. Baker leader, this is Baker 2. Fuel at 52%. Morrison says Roger. We are heading home. Form up on me. Jimmy banks left. Gently. The Thunderbolt is heavy. 8 tons of metal and ammunition and fuel. It does not turn quickly. He lines up on Morrison's wing. 200 yards. 100. 50. He settles into formation. Morrison's plane is scarred. Bullet holes patched with aluminum. Black smoke stains trailing from the exhaust. Every plane in the squadron looks like that. They have been flying since Normandy. 6 months of combat. 6 months of flak and fighters and fear. Jimmy's plane is newer. Only 30 missions. The paint is still bright. Olive drab and gray. No kill marks yet. No names. Just a number. 27. Baker 27. Then the engine coughs. It is a small sound. Almost nothing. But Jimmy feels it. A hitch. A stutter. Like a heartbeat skipping. He watches the gauges. Oil pressure steady. Temperature normal. RPM holding. Everything looks fine. But he knows. Something is wrong. The engine coughs again. Louder this time. The plane shudders. The nose dips. Jimmy pulls back on the stick. Levels out. He keys the mic. Baker leader. This is Baker 2. I have engine trouble. Morrison's voice is calm. Steady. What kind of trouble? Jimmy says, I do not know. Engine is missing. Losing power. Morrison says, can you make it back? Jimmy looks at the gauges again. The RPM is dropping. Slowly. Steadily. He says, I do not think so. Morrison says, try. We are 20 minutes from base. Jimmy says, Roger. I will try. He adjusts the throttle. Pulls back slightly. Trying to baby the engine. Coax it home. The plane flies. But the engine sounds wrong. Rough. Uneven. Like it is tearing itself apart. Jimmy's heart pounds. His hands grip the stick tighter. He thinks about bailing out. About pulling the canopy. About jumping into the freezing sky. About the parachute. About landing in enemy territory. The Germans control everything below. The Ardennes. The forests. The roads. If he bails out, he will be captured. Or killed. Or frozen. He decides to stay with the plane. Try to make it back. Try to land. The minutes crawl. Morrison stays on his wing. Watching. Waiting. The engine keeps coughing. Keep losing power. The altitude drops. 11,000 feet. 10,000. 9,000. Jimmy's breath comes faster. His vision tunnels. He forces himself to breathe. Slow. Steady. In. Out. In. Morrison's voice crackles. Baker 2, hold on. We are almost there. Jimmy does not respond. He is too focused. Too scared. Then Morrison's voice again. Sharper. Urgent. Bandits. 11 o'clock high. 3,000 feet. Jimmy looks up. Through the canopy. Through the clouds. He sees them. Black, dots against the gray. Diving. Fast. Focke-Wulf 190s. German fighters. 6 of them. Maybe more. His stomach drops. Morrison says brake right. Jimmy does not brake. He cannot. If he maneuvers hard, the engine will quit. He will stall. He will fall. He stays level. Steady. The bandits close. 2,000 feet. 1,500. 1,000. Morrison peels off. Diving. Trying to draw them away. It does not work. They ignore him. They go for Jimmy. The easy target. The wounded plane. Jimmy sees the lead fighter. Gray-green camouflage. Black crosses on the wings. The nose lights up. Muzzle flashes. Bright yellow. Tracers streak past. Green and white. They sound like ripping cloth. Jimmy banks left. Gently. The tracers follow. He pulls harder. The engine screams. It coughs. It sputters. But it holds. The tracers miss. The Focke-Wulf flashes past. Close enough that Jimmy can see the pilot. Leather helmet. Goggles. Face pale against the dark cockpit. Then he is gone. Jimmy levels out. His hands are shaking. The engine is still running. Barely. Another fighter dives. From the right. Jimmy sees it. He pushes a stick forward. The nose drops. The fighter overshoots. Pulls up. Loops around. Jimmy pulls back. Climbs. 200 feet. 300. The engine coughs. RPM dropping. He cannot climb. He levels out. A third fighter attacks. Head on. Closing fast. 1,200 feet. 1,000. 800. Jimmy does not turn. He cannot. He aims. He presses the trigger. The .850 caliber machine guns roar. The plane shakes. Brass casing spray. The smell of cordite fills the cockpit. Acrid. Choking. The tracers reach out. Bright red. They converge. They hit. The Focke-Wulf's engine explodes. Black smoke. Orange flame. The fighter rolls. Inverted. It falls. Spinning. Burning. Jimmy flies through the smoke. It is thick. Oily. It coats the windscreen. He cannot see. He wipes it with his glove. Smears it worse. The smoke clears. He sees another fighter. Right in front of him. 50 feet. Maybe less. The pilot's eyes are wide. Shocked. Jimmy fires. Point blank. The bullets tear through the cockpit. Through the pilot. Blood sprays. The canopy shatters. The fighter breaks apart. Wings separate. Fuselage tumbles. Pieces rain down. Jimmy pulls up. Hard. Too hard. The engine quits. Just stops. The propeller windmills. Freewheeling. The plane shudders. The nose drops. Jimmy is falling. He does not panic. He has trained for this. Engine out procedures. Glide. Find a place to land. Or bail out. But he is over enemy territory. And there are still 4 German fighters. He works the controls. Trying to restart. Fuel mixture rich. Ignition on. Starter engaged. The engine turns. Once. Twice. It catches. Coughs. Dies. He tries again. The engine sputters. Smokes. Catches. Holds. The roar returns. Rough. Uneven. But running. Jimmy pulls back. Levels out. 6,000 feet. Dropping fast. He looks around. The 4 remaining fighters are circling. Like wolves. Waiting. They dive. 2 from the left. 2 from the right. Coordinated. Professional. Jimmy cannot outmaneuver them. Not with a dying engine. So he does not try. He flies straight. Steady. Hands on the stick. Finger on the trigger. Waiting. The fighters close. 500 feet. 400. 300. He picks the left pair. He aims. He waits. 200 feet. 100. He fires. The guns hammer. The tracers reach out. They hit the lead fighter. In the wing root. The fuel tank. It explodes. A ball of orange flame. Debris everywhere. The wingman flies through it. He is on fire. Burning. He rolls. Dives. Trying to extinguish the flames. It does not work. He hits the trees below. Another explosion. Jimmy does not watch. He is already turning, fighting the dying engine, fighting the controls. The two fighters from the right are on him, firing. Tracers everywhere. Bullets punch through the fuselage, through the wings, through the tail. The plane shudders, shakes. Something breaks. A control cable. The rudder goes slack. Jimmy compensates with the ailerons, with the stick. The fighters pull up, loop around, come back. Jimmy aims. He fires. Short burst. The lead fighter takes hits. In the engine, in the cockpit, smoke pours out. The fighter wobbles, loses altitude. The pilot bails out. The canopy flies off. The pilot jumps. His parachute opens, white against the gray sky. He drifts down, into the trees, into the war. Jimmy does not have time to think about it. The last fighter is still there, still attacking, still trying to kill him. This one is different. The pilot is good. He does not dive straight in. He maneuvers, jinking, weaving, making himself hard to hit. Jimmy tries to follow. The engine screams. It is dying. He knows it. The fighter comes in from below, from behind, the worst angle. Jimmy cannot see him, cannot shoot. He pulls up, hard. The engine quits again. The fighter fires. Bullets tear through the tail, through the fuselage. One punches through the seat, 6 inches from Jimmy's spine. He feels the impact, feels the plane shudder. He rolls, inverted. The fighter flashes underneath. Jimmy rolls back, upright. He dives, chasing. The engine is dead. The propeller stopped. He is gliding, falling, but he has speed, momentum. He closes on the fighter. The German pilot does not see him, thinks he is done, thinks he is dead. Jimmy gets within 200 feet, 100, 50. He presses the trigger. The guns fire. Electric backup, independent of the engine. The bullets hammer the fighter, shred the tail, saw through the rudder. The fighter spins, uncontrollable, wild. The pilot bails. Parachute opens. He drifts away. Jimmy is alone. The sky is empty, silent except for the wind, the rush of air over the wings, over the canopy. He is gliding. No engine, no power, just gravity. He looks down. The forest is close, dark green, snow-covered. He looks for a clearing, a road, a field, anything. There is nothing, just trees. He keys a mic. His voice is calm, steady. Baker leader, this is Baker 2. Engine is dead. I am going down. Morrison's voice comes back, strained, desperate. Jimmy, hold on. We are coming. Jimmy says no time. Tell my mother I love her. Morrison says Jimmy. But Jimmy does not respond. He is too busy, too focused. He aims for a gap in the trees. A small one, maybe wide enough, maybe not. He drops the landing gear. The wheels lock down. He lowers the flaps. The plane slows. The nose rises. He is 50 feet above the trees. 40, 30. The wings clip the branches. Snow showers. With splinters. The plane shudders. Slows. The wheels hit. Hard. The landing gear collapses. The belly hits the ground. The plane slides. Through snow. Through mud. Through brush. Metal screams. The canopy shatters. Glass everywhere. The world spins. Then stops. Silence. Jimmy is alive. He does not know how. He is hanging in the straps. The plane is on its side. Smoke pours from the engine. He smells fuel. Aviation gas. He needs to get out. He unbuckles. Falls. Lands hard on the canopy. On broken glass. He crawls out. Through the gap. Into the snow. It is deep. Cold. He stands. His legs shake. He looks at the plane. It is wrecked. The engine is torn open. The wings are shredded. The tail is gone. But he is alive. He hears voices. Shouting. German. Close. He runs. Into the trees. Into the forest. His flight suit is bright. Olive drab. Easy to see. He ducks behind a tree, breathing hard. The voices get closer. He sees them. German soldiers. Wehrmacht. 5 of them. Rifles. Helmets. They are moving toward the crash. Jimmy does not move, does not breathe. They reach the plane. They circle it, looking, searching. One of them points to the tracks, to the footprints in the snow, leading away, leading to Jimmy. They follow. Jimmy runs. He crashes through the brush, through the snow. His boots are heavy, soaked. His lungs burn. He hears gunfire, rifles. Bullets snap past, hit trees. Bark explodes. He ducks. He zigzags. He keeps running. He does not know where. Just away. Just anywhere. He runs for 10 minutes. 15. His legs give out. He collapses, face in the snow. He cannot move, cannot breathe. He hears the voices again. Closer. He is done. He knows it. He closes his eyes. Waits. Then different voices. American voices. Soldiers. Infantry. They surround him. Rifles raised. One of them says Jesus Christ is a pilot. Another says, is he alive? Jimmy opens his eyes. He says yes. Barely. The soldiers lower their rifles. One of them helps him up. He says, you are safe now, Lieutenant. We got you. Jimmy nods. He cannot speak. He is too tired, too cold, too grateful. They take him back. Through the forest. To their lines. To safety. The debriefing happens 2 days later. Jimmy sits in a tent. A wood stove crackles in the corner. An intelligence officer sits across from him. Captain Reynolds. He has a notebook, a pencil. He says, tell me what happened, Lieutenant. Jimmy tells him about the engine, about the bandits, about the 6 fighters. Reynolds writes it all down. He says 6 confirmed kills. Jimmy says, I do not know. Maybe. Reynolds says witnesses confirm it. Captain Morrison saw 4. Ground troops saw the others. 6 Focke-Wulf 190s. All shot down. By you. With a dead engine. Jimmy says it was not dead the whole time. It kept quitting. Kept restarting. Reynolds says still. 6 kills. In 1 engagement. With a damaged plane. That is extraordinary, Lieutenant. Jimmy does not feel extraordinary. He feels tired. He feels lucky. He feels like he should be dead. Reynolds says you are being recommended for the Distinguished Service Cross. Maybe the Medal of Honor. Jimmy says, I just did my job. Reynolds says your job was to survive. You did more than that. You fought. You won. Jimmy says I did not win. I crashed. Reynolds says, but you lived. And 6 enemy fighters did not. That is winning. Jimmy does not respond. He just stares at the stove, at the flames, thinking about the pilots, the ones he killed, the ones who bailed out, the ones who burned. He wonders if they had families, wives, children. He wonders if they were good men, brave men, just fighting for the wrong side. Or maybe there are no sides, just men, just war, just death. Reynolds stands. He says, get some rest, Lieutenant. You have earned it. Jimmy nods. Reynolds leaves. Jimmy sits there, alone. The fire crackles. The wind howls outside. He thinks about the engine, about how it kept quitting, about how it kept starting, about how he should be dead, about how he is not. He does not know why. Luck, maybe, or God, or something else. He just knows he is alive. And that has to be enough. Jimmy flies again 2 weeks later. A new plane, a new engine, the same sky, the same war. But something has changed. He is not afraid anymore. Not the way he was. He has been through it, the worst of it, and he survived. He knows he can do it again. Or maybe he knows he cannot. Maybe that is why he is not afraid. Because fear requires hope, and hope requires a belief that you will live. Jimmy does not believe that anymore. He just flies. He fights. He comes home. 1 mission. 2, 5, 10. He gets more kills. 2 more Focke-Wulfs. A Messerschmitt. An observation plane. The numbers add up. 9 confirmed kills. Then 10. Then 12. They paint them on his plane. Little swastikas under the canopy. They call him the Iron Lieutenant, the man who cannot be killed. Jimmy hates the name, hates the attention. He just wants to fly, to fight, to finish. The war drags on. January, February, March. The Allies push east. The Germans fall back. The end is coming. Everyone knows it. In April, Jimmy's squadron is transferred to France, to an airfield near Reims. The runways are paved. The barracks have heat, real beds, hot food. It feels like luxury. Jimmy shares a room with Morrison. They have flown together for 8 months. Morrison is like an older brother. Steady, calm, always there. One night they sit in the barracks, drinking whiskey, stolen from the officers' mess. Morrison says, "What will you do after, when the war is over?" Jimmy says, "I do not know. Go home, I guess." Morrison says, "Where is home?" Jimmy says, "Nebraska. Small town. My father has a farm. Corn, wheat, cattle." Morrison says, "Will you farm?" Jimmy shakes his head. He says, "No, I do not think so. I do not think I can." Morrison says, "Why not?" Jimmy says, "Because I have seen too much, done too much. I cannot go back to that, to the quiet, to the simple." Morrison nods. He says, "I understand. I feel the same." Jimmy asks, "What will you do?" Morrison says, "I do not know either. Maybe keep flying, become a test pilot, or a flight instructor. Something, anything, just not nothing." Jimmy raises his glass. He says to not nothing. Morrison smiles. He raises his glass. He says to not nothing. They drink. The war ends in May. Germany surrenders. The celebrations are wild, loud, drunk. Jimmy does not celebrate. He just sits on the wing of his plane, watching. The sun is setting. The sky is orange and pink. Beautiful. Morrison climbs up, sits beside him. He says, "We made it." Jimmy says, "Yeah, we did." Morrison says, "What are you thinking about?" Jimmy says, "The ones who did not." Morrison nods. He says, "Me too." They sit in silence, watching the sun go down, watching the war end. Jimmy thinks about the 6 fighters, about the pilots, about the men he killed. He wonders if they would have made it, if the war had ended sooner, if he had not been there. He will never know, and that is the hardest part. Not the killing, but the not knowing whether it mattered, whether it was worth it, whether he is a hero or a murderer. Morrison stands. He says, "Come on, let us get drunk." Jimmy says, "Okay." They walk back to the barracks. Together, 2 men who survived, who fought, who won, but who will carry the war with them forever. Jimmy goes home in June. He takes a train across France, a ship across the Atlantic, another train across America. He arrives in Nebraska on a Thursday. His mother is waiting at the station. She cries when she sees him. She holds him. She says, my boy, you are home." Jimmy holds her. He says, "Yes, Mama, I am home." His father is there too. Quiet, stoic. He shakes Jimmy's hand. He says, "Welcome back, son." Jimmy says, "Thank you, sir." They drive home, through fields of corn, green and tall, swaying in the wind. The farmhouse looks the same. White, 2 stories, a porch, a swing. Jimmy's room is the same too. His bed, his desk, his books, like he never left. But he did, and he is not the same. His mother makes dinner, pot roast, potatoes, carrots, Jimmy's favorite. He eats, but he does not taste it. His father asks about the war, about the flying, about the fights. Jimmy says it was fine. "I did my job. I came home." His father nods. He does not press. His mother asks if he is okay. Jimmy says, "Yes, Mama, I am okay." But he is not. He wakes up at night, sweating, shaking, seeing the fighters, hearing the guns, smelling the smoke. He goes outside, sits on the porch, stares at the sky, at the stars. So many stars, more than he ever saw in the war. He thinks about the man he killed, about Morrison, about the plane with the broken engine, about the 6 fighters, about how he should be dead, about how he is not. He does not understand it. He does not think he ever will. The months pass. Summer, autumn, winter. Jimmy tries to adjust, to fit back in, to be normal, but he cannot. He does not belong here anymore. He does not belong anywhere. He thinks about Morrison's words, about not nothing. He decides to do something. He goes to the recruiting office in town. He signs up again. Air Force. Peacetime. They make him a flight instructor. He teaches young pilots how to fly, how to fight, how to survive. He is good at it. Patient, calm, steady. The pilots respect him. They ask about the war, about the kills, about the broken engine. Jimmy tells them, not the glory, not the medals, just the truth. War is not heroic. It is not noble. It is just death and survival and luck and trying to do the right thing when there is no right thing. The pilots listen. They learn. Some of them go to Korea. Some do not come back. Jimmy mourns them. Every one. He writes letters to their families. He tells them their sons were brave, were good, were heroes. He does not know if it is true, but it is what they need to hear. And maybe that is enough. In 1953, Jimmy meets a woman. Her name is Helen. She is a librarian. Quiet, kind, smart. They marry a year later. They have 2 children, a boy and a girl, Michael and Sarah. Jimmy is a good father, present, loving, but distant. There's a part of him that is always somewhere else. In the sky, in the war, in the cockpit of a broken plane. Helen understands. She does not ask him to change. She just loves him, and he loves her as much as he can, as much as the war left him capable of. Jimmy retires from the Air Force in 1965. He is 43 years old. He has flown for 23 years. He has taught hundreds of pilots, saved dozens of lives. He receives commendations, awards, a ceremony. They give him a plaque, a medal, a handshake. He says thank you. He goes home. He does not know what to do with himself. He cannot farm, cannot fly, cannot fight. So he builds. He builds furniture, tables, chairs, cabinets, working with his hands, creating instead of destroying. It helps. A little. The nightmares fade. Not gone, just quieter. Helen dies in 1989. Cancer. Jimmy holds her hand as she goes. She says, I love you. He says, I love you too. She smiles. She closes her eyes. She is gone. Jimmy sits with her for a long time, remembering, grateful, broken. He buries her beside the farmhouse, under an oak tree. He visits every day. He talks to her. He tells her about the children, about the grandchildren, about the life they built, about the war he cannot forget. In 1994, Jimmy receives a letter. It is from Germany, from a man named Klaus Hoffmann. The letter says, Dear Mr. Caldwell, you do not know me, but I know you, or I know of you. My father was Oberleutnant Wilhelm Hoffmann, Luftwaffe. He flew Focke-Wulf 190s. In December 1944, he was shot down over Belgium, near Bastogne. He bailed out. He was captured. He survived the war. He came home. He told me about the fight, about the American pilot with a broken engine, about the 6 planes, about how he should have died. But the pilot was too good, too brave, too lucky. My father died last year, but before he did, he asked me to find you, to tell you something. He said you were not a murderer. You were a warrior, and you did what warriors do. You fought. You survived. You honored the fight. He wanted you to know that. He wanted you to know there was no hate, just respect. I hope this letter finds you well. I hope you have found peace. Sincerely, Klaus Hoffmann. Jimmy reads the letter 3 times. 4 times. His hands are shaking. His eyes are wet. He does not know what to feel. Relief, grief, gratitude, all of it, none of it. He writes back. He says, Dear Mr. Hoffmann, thank you for your letter. Thank you for your father's words. They mean more than you know. I have carried the war with me for 50 years. The men I killed, the friends I lost, the plane that should have fallen. Your father's words give me something I have not had. Permission. Permission to let go. Permission to forgive myself. Please know that I never hated your father. I never hated any of them. I just did what I had to do. As they did, we were all just men, caught in something bigger than ourselves. I hope your father found peace. I hope you do too. Sincerely, James Caldwell. They write back and forth for 2 years, sharing stories, sharing pain, sharing healing. In 1996, Klaus invites Jimmy to Germany to visit, to see where his father flew, where he fought, where he survived. Jimmy goes. It is his first time back in Europe since the war. He flies to Frankfurt. Klaus meets him at the airport. They shake hands. They embrace. 2 sons of the war, connected by their fathers, by the fight, by the sky. Klaus takes Jimmy to a museum, a Luftwaffe museum. There's an exhibit about the Battle of the Bulge, about the air war. There's a photograph, a Focke-Wulf 190, Klaus's father's plane, gray-green, black crosses, beautiful, deadly. There's a plaque. It tells the story about the engagement, about the 6 planes, about the American pilot, about the broken engine. Jimmy stares at it. He reads every word. Klaus stands beside him. He says, "My father always said you were the best he ever faced." Jimmy says he was wrong. "I was just lucky." Klaus says, "Maybe. But you were also brave, also skilled, also determined. That is not luck. That is will." Jimmy does not respond. He just stares at the photograph, thinking, remembering. Jimmy dies in 1998. He is 76 years old, peaceful, in his sleep. His children bury him beside Helen, under the oak tree. They place a flag on his coffin. They play taps. A 3-volley salute. The grandchildren cry. They do not fully understand, but they feel it. The weight, the loss, the legacy. On his headstone they write, Second Lieutenant James Caldwell, United States Army Air Forces, Distinguished Service Cross, 12 confirmed kills, 6 with a broken engine, husband, father, hero, warrior, at peace. Klaus Hoffmann comes to the funeral. He flies from Germany. He stands beside the grave. He places a wreath. Black, red, gold, the colors of Germany. He says a few words in German. Then in English, he says, "Your father was my father's enemy, but he was also his equal, his mirror, his brother in arms. The war tried to make them monsters, but they stayed men. They fought with honor. They survived with grace. They deserve to rest in peace." The family thanks him. They do not fully understand, but they feel it too. The connection, the closure, the circle completed. Klaus returns to Germany, but he comes back every year. On the anniversary of the fight, December 1944, he places flowers on Jimmy's grave. White roses, for peace, for respect, for memory. The story is told in books, in documentaries, in museums, about the American pilot who took down 6 enemy planes with a broken engine, about the fight over Bastogne, about the warrior who became a teacher, about the enemy who became a friend, about the sons who carried their father's war and found their own peace. In Nebraska, in a small cemetery, 2 graves sit side by side. Jimmy and Helen. Flowers bloom between them every spring, planted by the grandchildren, tended by Klaus. A reminder, a memorial, a testament, that even in war, even in the sky, even when the engine is broken and death is certain, we fight. We survive. We honor the fight. And when it is over, we find peace, not by forgetting, but by remembering, by telling the story, by passing it on, so that those who come after will know that war is hell, but warriors are human, and humanity, even in the darkest sky, even with a broken engine, even against impossible odds, endures.